Today on Rappler, the government and the MILF return to the negotiating table to work out details of the peace framework. Media groups want Justice Velasco to inhibit from a case on the cybercrime law. And the United Nations says about 1 in 8 people worldwide suffer from hunger. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. After the historic signing of a peace roadmap, the Philippine government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front will work on the devil in the details. Government Peace Panel Chairman Marvic Leonen and his MILF counterpart Mohager Iqbal say they will focus on the annexes on power sharing and wealth sharing between the central government and the Bangsamoro. The two parties will also discuss the details of peace and order in the region. The framework agreement says an independent commission will be organized, quote, to recommend appropriate policing within the area. Seeking to allay fears, Leonen says the Bangsamoro is not exclusive to the MILF.
It is not, again, if I may repeat, exclusive to the MILF. And let me repeat, the process is an inclusive, people-driven, and democratic process. A transition commission, which I guess will go for consultations throughout the area, submitting a Bangsamoro Basic Law, a draft of it to the Congress, the House and the Senate deliberating with elected representatives, the President mulling over the product of Congress when it passes this bill in 3 readings, and then finally a full ratification from the people in the area. A political mandate, a legal mandate, and a constitutional mandate at that.
Media groups Monday seek the inhibition of Supreme Court Justice Presbitero Velasco Jr. from a case questioning the constitutionality of the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, citing the libel cases he filed against a veteran journalist for her online articles. National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, and the Philippine Press Institute say Velasco should recuse himself from the case because of the libel suit he filed in 2010 against Marites Vitug, founding editor of Newsbreak and now Rappler's editor-at-large. Velasco is the assigned ponente, or the justice who will pen the decision. He filed 13 counts of libel against Vitug in 2010 for her story, Supreme Court Justice and Partisan Politics, published on the websites of ABS-CBN News and Newsbreak. Outgoing Leyte Governor Jericho is the new Energy Secretary, replacing Rene Almendras. Palace sources confirmed to Rappler that Petilla has been offered the job. Almendras will be moving to Malacanang either as head of the Presidential Management Staff or Chief of Staff. Senator Franklin Drilon says Senator Ralph Recto's resignation as Ways and Means Committee Chair will not hamper plenary deliberations on the sin tax bill, which may pass between November and January. Recto resigned Monday and says he is withdrawing the committee report on the bill that slashes proposed revenue to 15 to 20 billion pesos. The figure is much less than the House version of the bill, which aims to raise 31 billion pesos, or Malacanang's, which seeks to raise 60 billion pesos. Drilon takes over Recto's post as acting committee chair. He says the report still stands and debates for amendments can start as planned. He adds, quote, public interest will dictate that we maintain the committee report. We do not have to start from scratch. Voting 195 to 6 Monday, the House of Representatives approves on third and final reading the government's 2 trillion peso budget for 2013. House Committee on Appropriations Chairman Cavite Representative June Abaya says there are no major amendments to the Malacanang budget. The Priority Development Assistance Fund, or the pork barrel, is intact with an expanded, quote, menu of options. Senators still get 200 million pesos and representatives 70 million pesos. Lawmakers may now fund training of local officials through the Development Academy of the Philippines. Abaya also says the recently approved budget will not be used for the 2013 elections.
Election budget. Kasi this will come out by the time baka the COMELEC ban will kick in. So majority of the 2013 budget won't affect the election.
Leftist group Akbayan storms the press conference of Akbayan to denounce the group's hypocrisy and ties to Malacanang, sparking a word war between the two rivals in the Philippine left. An Akbayan says its youth representatives decided to take the floor after Akbayan, quote, rehashed its old arguments against the group. An Akbayan wants the Commission on Elections to disqualify Akbayan, claiming the party list no longer represents the marginalized because its leaders hold top positions in government. Akbayan Chief Communications Officer Eman Hizon says the group, quote, tries to represent the marginalized in all levels of government. He adds, if they're saying that we are overrepresented, then they're saying that the marginalized can only be represented in certain levels. COMELEC Chair Sixto Brillantes Jr. says poll commissioners have yet to decide on this issue. On the eve of World Food Day, a United Nations envoy says, quote, the momentum has been lost in preventing global hunger. UN envoy Olivier de Schutter says governments are not doing enough to fight global hunger. He adds, we do not move forward except when there's a crisis. Around 870 million people in the world suffer from hunger, an improvement from more than 1 billion in the early 1990s. But the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization says the figure remains, quote, unacceptably high. The G20 group of leading world economies last year vowed to keep global food prices in check, but there's been little progress. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, taking the heat off re-electionist U.S. President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton claims full responsibility for any shortcomings in the State Department's handling of the September 11 attack on the U.S. consulate compound in Benghazi in Libya. Clinton says the buck stopped with her on security decisions and downplayed initial communications errors, saying there's always, quote, confusion in the first hours after an attack. At number 6, finance blog site Big Picture says Americans won 68% of all Nobel Prizes for economic sciences. UK ranks second with 11.8%, while other Euro nations bag 8.8% of the laureates. It adds 69 people with an average age of 62 won the 43 prizes between 1969 and 2011. These statistics come after Alvin Roth and Lloyd Shapley win the 2012 Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences for their work on matching supply and demand for everything from single men and women to organ donors and their recipients. The annual prizes, which include $1.2 million, a gold medal, and a diploma, will be handed out on December 10th, Human Rights Day, and the anniversary of Nobel's death. At number 7, a referendum in 2014 on Scottish independence could lead to the breakup of the United Kingdom after 300 years. Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron and pro-independence First Minister Alex Salmond inks this deal in a meeting Monday at the Scottish Government Building, St Andrew's House in Edinburgh. Cameron strongly opposes the breakaway, but Salmond says Scotland should be able to run its own foreign, economic, and defense policies and wants to retain the sterling currency and the British monarch as head of state. The deal clears the way for Scotland's administration to hold the vote in the last quarter of 2014. And at number 8, Austrian Air Force pilot Felix Baumgartner did not only break the speed of sound and the world record for high-altitude skydives, but also highlighted an emerging trend in business and economy. Over 8 million people watched the live-streamed and Red Bull-sponsored skydive from space, blowing away YouTube's previous peak of 500,000 concurrent streams, which it hit this summer during the Olympics, as well as the 2011 royal wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton. The Wall Street Journal notes this likely means the web finally has a chance to rival TV when it comes to serving live events with huge audiences, one of TV's last remaining advantages over the internet. 8 million live streams. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. An international team of amateur and professional astronomers announced the discovery of a planet whose skies are lit up by 4 suns, the first reported case of such a phenomenon. The planet, located about 5,000 light years from Earth, has been dubbed PH1 in honor of Planet Hunters, a program led by Yale University in the United States. PH1 is orbiting 2 suns and in turn is orbited by a second distant pair of stars. Researchers say only 6 planets are known to orbit 2 stars, and none of those are orbited by other distant stars. Every story on Rappler has its own mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click on how you feel and your vote will come down to the middle of the front page of Rappler to the Mood Navigator. If you take a look at it, the Mood Navigator takes the top 10 stories which have gotten the most number of votes, and it places them on the front page with a breakdown. For example, you still have today the signing of the GPH-MILF Framework Agreement, which happened yesterday, still there on the top 10, 72% happy, 14% inspired, 7% afraid. That's followed by today's story. This is an interesting one. It's war. Akbayan versus an Akbayan, which you just heard about. 38% sad, 34% angry, and even here you see 13% happy. This happy vote contributing to the mood of the day, the crowdsourced mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Tuesday, October 16, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.